Honda just announced their all-new CBR1000RR, which they are calling the CBR1000RR-R. Yeah, I'm not kidding. But by God, forget the name for a second. The new Fireblade is simply just amazing. The king is back, baby. Okay, let's get this out of the way right now. 214 horsepower, just want to make sure you guys understood that. 214 horsepower at 14,500 RPMs and 83.3 foot-pound of torque at 12,500 RPMs. All of this from a brand new 999.9cc inline-4 engine, which, by the way, is Euro 5 compliant, so yes, this bike will be available all throughout the world, of course. This new engine will have a semi-cam gear, finger follower rocker arms, titanium connecting rods, forged aluminum pistons, and tons of other RC213V DNA scattered throughout. Honda threw everything they had at this motor, and my God, it is amazing. 214 horsepower! The new blade will feature all new bodywork, which we'll get back to in a minute. But because of the new bodywork, Honda was able to redesign the airbox and the air intake to make it more efficient. And not only is the new Fireblade sucking in air better than it ever has before, but it's also exhaling it out more efficiently as well, because Honda worked with Aerodynamics to help develop the exhaust system to be as efficient as possible, while still making better low-end torque and high-end power than any other Fireblade ever made. Okay, so now let's move away from the engine and onto the chassis. It's unsurprisingly made completely of aluminum and has the standard diamond frame that Honda likes to use. The engine is actually integrated into the frame to help support the rear shock so they can avoid using an upper cross member. The rear swing arm is based off of the RC213V as well, and as a result it is longer, which is probably to help keep this bike from becoming a unicycle. That and Honda's full technology traction control system and stability and wheelie control. But back to the frame. Honda claims that the new frame will be about 18% more rigid than the older model, which will help improve the handling. But as you guys know, the frame is only half of the equation when it comes to handling, the other half is the suspension. And Honda went all out with the Showa big piston 43mm forks, and the rear gets a Showa balance-free cushion light setup. With Showa forks and a 214 horsepower engine, you need brakes to help stop this beast. Well, Honda came prepared with all new oversized front rotors, which are 10mm larger in diameter and are matched up with brand new Nissan 4-piston radial mounted calipers. And yes, this should probably go without saying, but I'll say it anyway, the new Fireblade will have ABS. Oh, and I forgot to mention, apparently this new Fireblade will feature a 200 size rear tire, opposed to the commonly used 190. So I did mention earlier that Honda has all the traction control gizmos you could ever need to help tame the power. This includes a 6-axis inertial measurement unit to control everything, and an all-new 3-level electronic steering damper, and of course it has launch control, wheelie control, and all that other stuff. And just like the old Fireblade, we get another fully customizable 5-inch full-color TFT display, and get this guys, this bike will actually have a keyless system installed. So you just carry around a key fob in your pocket, and then when you're ready to go on the bike, you just start it up. You don't have to mess around with a key, which is pretty cool. Now let's get to the bodywork, and before I can give my opinion on the looks, I need to explain the actual benefits of the bodywork, and of course the main benefit is aerodynamics. The aero bodywork on the new Fireblade is greatly influenced by the RC213V. Winglets are on the front end, yup, just like Ducati, but Honda was much more subtle with theirs. These winglets actually play an important role. They are there to help increase downforce on the front and will improve braking stability. This will help give the front end a little bit more planted feeling when you're going well over the legal speed limit. Of course, there's a million other little changes with the aero, but to put it simply, Honda reduced the drag coefficient to 0.270, which I have no idea how good that is. But they did say that it was going to be reduced from the outgoing model's coefficient, which they don't tell you, and I couldn't find it, but basically it's better, it's more aerodynamic. In addition to this, Honda was able to lower the fuel tank to make the riding position more compact, which also helps with aerodynamics, and as you guys know, with a more compact seating position, it almost makes the bike more comfortable. Now that's the CBR1000RR-R, but there's also the SP model, which will feature Brembo brakes and upgraded Öhlins suspension. The Öhlins unit is a second generation semi-active SEC, and the rear shock is an Öhlins TTX36 Smart EC unit. This upgraded Öhlins system will allow you to make more fine-tuned adjustments, and not only that, but it allows you to change the suspension setting from within the dashboard on the fly instantly, so you are able to set up the modes exactly how you want personally. So let's just say you take mode A, which is the stiffer suspension, which is more for the twisties, and then suddenly you notice the road's getting bad and it's bumpy, and then you switch it to suspension B, which is a little bit softer and it makes it a little bit more comfortable. I'm sure most people won't use it that way. I'm sure most people will actually just use it for two different tracks. If they have two tracks they like going, but one suspension's better than the other for one track, I think that's what it's meant to really be used for. But I would imagine you could use it for comfort as well and soften up the suspension over potholes and things like that. The Brembo calipers are 4-piston radial mounted, which will be linked to a Brembo master cylinder and brake lever. And by the way, the rear is going to be the exact same Brembo brake found on the RC213 VS. Literally part number for part number, same exact brake. Whew, okay, so now my opinions. Let's start with the bodywork. I simply love it. I know I am in the minority on this one, okay? And I don't think it's a timeless design or anything like that. But in my opinion, it just looks so aggressive. I love it. I just love the aggressiveness to it. It reminds me of an actual MotoGP bike. The winglets were so cleverly integrated. I'm excited with how Honda was able to do that. I love the LED lights and just think it's a very nice looking machine, especially the front end. The lines look great, tons of little vents and cuts and lines. The only complaint I have is that I think the tail doesn't really fit with the rest of the bike, but it doesn't look terrible, and it's just my least favorite part. Although admittedly, with the Solo cow, it looks much better. This bike checks all the boxes, guys. It's literally 214 horsepower. If you didn't know, 214. I believe the curb weight of this bike will be around 443 pounds, which is slightly heavier than the last model, but the power to weight ratio is seriously just impressive, way better than the last model. And with the frame and suspension improvements that they were able to make, you won't even feel the weight difference at all. I can promise you that. Unless your name is Valentino Rossi or something like, or Marc Marquez, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. It has Öhlins, it has Brembo, it has a TFT display, it has all the rider aids you could ever want, all the technology. It looks awesome, it's cool, it has a keyless fob. I mean, this bike is the real deal. You know what this bike is, guys? This bike is Honda saying, enough Kawasaki, enough BMW, enough Yamaha, enough Suzuki, and enough Ducati. It's time to remind all you kids out there who the real king is, and that is Honda with their brand new Fireblade.